Hello, people of grace. For our Pastoral Connect this week, we're looking at Ecclesiastes chapter 7, verses 23 and 24, where Solomon laments about his life and this world and says, "All this I have tested by wisdom. I said, I will be wise, but it was far from me. That which has been is far off and deep, very deep. Who can find it out?" And what Solomon is learning with all of the great wisdom that God gave him is that wisdom has its limits. There are some things that go beyond our human reasoning and skill and insight, no matter how gifted and Solomonic we may be. One thing is the human heart. Psalm 64 verse 7 talks about this deep idea that Solomon's mentioning here and says the human heart is very deep. Job chapter 11 verses 7 through 8 says that the things of God are very deep, too deep for us. And in that same passage in Job 11, you get a second point. Though two things are really too deep for us, the human heart and the things of God, yet we are called to love the Lord our God with all our heart, soul, mind, and strength, and to love our neighbor. So both are too deep for us to really figure out or fully understand, yet we are called to love them. But in all of that, Job 11 verses 7 through 8 also says that God asks less from us than what our guilt deserves. So we really get hung up on trying to figure things out and understand things, and we are created with what ought to be a thirst for wisdom, but we become too humanistic, too dependent on our own understanding, as that famous Bible verse says, don't lean on your own understanding, too cocky about our ability to really figure things out when we really can't understand other people fully or God fully. So we are asked to love in a way that goes beyond knowledge, to know a love and practice a love that goes beyond knowledge. And all of us have fallen short of that. Yet God asks less from us than what our guilt really deserves. So we can come out of all this, if we don't get too stuck in our heads, with that sense of what David said. The boundaries have fallen for me in pleasant places. Life can really drive us crazy, especially if we spend too much time trying to figure it all out. But if we just focus on loving God and loving people and recognize that we have an opportunity to experience a love that goes beyond knowledge, then we can end up in a sense of life is a gift. The circumstances in my life ultimately have given me an opportunity to experience beautiful, good, true things. I can therefore be in a pleasant place in my soul, as long as I remember what Solomon, not here in Ecclesiastes 7, but said in Proverbs 29, where there is no vision, the people perish. A little more exploring of that. It's not vision like I've thought it up, now I'm relying on my own wisdom again. The idea of vision there is where there is no revelation. The people perish, they perish by casting off restraint. Professing ourselves to be wise, putting too much emphasis on our intellect and our ability to figure it out, we become fools. But where we really love God's word and what He has revealed about Himself and restrain ourselves, then we don't destroy ourselves. And we can end up living a pleasant life. One of the hallmarks of true, effective leadership is when it practices self-restraint and doesn't rely on its own understanding and wisdom to try to fix everything. That's an overreach. It ends up being destructive. And when we go beyond the humility and restraint that God's word challenges us to practice, and we use our influence in ways that are haughty and make it seem like we're smart, we end up destroying ourselves. And though that is a challenge, all of us can practice humility and restraint. All of us can love. All of us can experience a love that surpasses knowledge And that's an encouraging thought.